right into the news and what we're spinning. It's that segment of our show. So, hey, Billy, why don't you take it away with some news items and what you're listening to this week?
Yeah, so two news items. Both I just sort of discovered by accident yesterday or today. So I was at the Havok Exodus show last night, and they talked about the new Havok EP that came out like 2 weeks ago. And I don't know, maybe you guys knew about it, but I didn't know about
Oh, I
it.
knew about it.
So yeah, it's called New Eyes.
Yep.
And it's a shame. Like according to the band, it's independent, so that would mean they got dropped from their label. I'm guessing,
Yeah,
or they chose to separate. But yeah, so I mean, they played 3 tracks from there. It was really
cool.
cool. It looks like the 4th track, I looked it up today, is a Metallica cover from Justice for All, Eye of the Beholder. Didn't actually listen to it, but it's on my I downloaded it, and they actually were selling the EP at the show. But the way they do it is they had the one lineup for all the bands, and so Exodus was all around the venue, and so I would have had to wait in line for an hour to get that Havok EP. So unfortunately I couldn't buy it, but I'll have to pick it up somewhere. But so yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's independent, so they could definitely use the support. So take a look, and you know, the songs came across really good live. So I'm going to assume it's worth it. And a Metallica cover from my favorite Metallica album, so that's a bonus. Second item I had was I know, Ken, you're a big fan of this, the band The Haunted. It came up a couple times on our previous podcast. They've been doing a lot of social media from the studio. So they're recording the new album, and no album name, no release date, but it's kind of cool to follow along. They were actually showing you they were trying out all these sounds, like different amps for this album. So like in the studio, that no joke, they must have had 30 different amps, and the two guitarists were plugging into them all and seeing what sound they liked. So that was kind of cool. But again, no band album, no single, no more details. But if you're a fan of The Haunted, then keep your eye out in 2025, because I haven't heard that on anyone's sort of release calendar for 2025, but it sounds like it's going to hit.
It would make sense, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Just those two quick news items, and then I picked up. I was in a gruesome kind of a mood. So I picked
nice.
their EP from 2016. Talk about killer artwork. I don't know if that comes across.
Repka.
That looks great.
Yeah, it's cool. Is it Ed Repka?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It certainly looks
like
because
all their album cover.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it certainly makes sense. But yeah, I mean, for those who don't know gruesome, I mean, how do you describe them? They're I mean, kind of like a Death cover band to some degree. They certainly sound like Death, more earlier Death for sure. Not like Death like in the progressive era Death towards the end. But I mean, the band stands, there's all their own written material. They're great songs. It sounds great. I've seen Gruesome live a couple times in Europe. They're great. So yeah, the material stands on its own 100%, but you'd be kidding yourself if you don't say it doesn't sound like early Death.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally sound like Death.
Yeah, especially like Leprosy era.
Yes.
Or Scream Bloody Gore, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny because before I knew who they were, I was at a Vakken open air, and I just strolled in to hear them, and I'm like, "Holy crap, this sounds like Death!" And then I saw it said Gruesome, and it was only when I got back from the festival did I look it up, and I don't know, that may have been like 16 or 17, 2016.
Yeah, they've been around for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And they have what, 3 albums and 1 EP, I think.
Yeah, or 2 EPs. So I have all the albums, but then this was the EP that came after the second album, I think.
Yeah, or Savage Land or Something Savage was the first album.
Yeah.
I forget this. The second album has the priest on the cover where they're like
in
a church, like they're in some kind of a church. Everyone's worshiping. That's a great cover. I love that. And this cover here is good too.
Does Ed Repka do all the gruesome covers?
Yeah, he did them all.
Okay. All right, cool. That's it for me, Jim.
Cool.
Awesome. Ken, what have you got for us?
I got a fun item today.
Wicked.
So I'm going back to Metallica. It's kind of funny. Maybe they're on the Kiss bandwagon now. I don't know. They released, I didn't even know they did. They've actually released a series, a company called Pinball Machines Inc. or Stern Pinball Inc. I should say. They've released Metallica pinball machines. They're all themed. So like they have Justice, Seek and Destroy, Ride the Lightning. It's kind of funny. So they just released this new package, and it's like $1,000 for each little add-on. So you can add on these bells and whistles to the machines. I think it's kind of funny, but it's like, are they following in Kiss's footsteps now? Like trying to pretty much merchandise everything under the sun, like like a Kiss coffin and crazy shit like that. I just thought it was kind of funny. I just came across it recently.
So they're selling the whole like old-fashioned pinball game, like the giant thing.
Yeah. It's like it's basically like a classic pinball machine, but Metallica themed.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
guess I would have thought it would cost a couple thousand. I don't know.
I think the machines are more than that, but I think it's that they have this package where they're adding on like bells and whistles or things you can add to the machine.
Okay.
I don't know. It's what I read, but I mean, all the power to them, right? If you can merchandise your shit and make money from it, I guess that's all that counts. So I just think it was kind of funny. It's funny.
I've seen a Metallica pinball machine, like a full Metallica one before. Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen one.
Yeah.
I've never seen. I have a bunch of friends who are into pinball machines, but it's not something I was ever really into, even growing up. Going to the arcades, I never got into them.
Yeah, okay. I lived in them.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in the arcade too growing up, so this is way before, Xbox and all that jazz. But I mean, when I was growing up, I was practically in the arcades here in Toronto all the time. Yeah. But it's funny. It's just funny. And so for spinning, I'm sort of been inspired by Jim. Jim's been posting all these cassette tapes on Facebook that he's been finding. So I found mine. I have a whole whack of them too, and I was pulling out some. So I pulled out 3 just to like show. So yeah, I got these cassettes now. They might be hard to see on the camera, but it's like Disincarnate.
Oh, wicked!
Yeah, I love that. This was one of my favorite death metal albums with James Murphy. Of course, we always have like Megadeth and Rust in Peace, which is kind of cool. Love that. And then the other one I found, I just pulled this out. It's Destruction's Eternal Devastation and Mad Butcher together. I think it should go this way. Yeah, that's a great one too. I played this cassette to death, so I don't even know if it would play anymore. But yeah, I thought I'd show that off because I thought I was inspired by what Jim was doing. It's kind of fun. I have way more cassettes too, but I have to find them. Like I was telling you, I need to find my my Cold Lake cassette. I know I have it somewhere, but I have so many cassettes. It's crazy.
Have you guys seen like those like modern cassettes that you buy today where the album artwork is actually on the cassette?
Yeah, it looks cool.
I've seen those.
Yeah, they're cool. Like I bought all the Obituary ones like that.
Did you?
Cannibal nice. They're amazing looking.
Yeah, cassettes are kind of like, I guess they're back in. I guess when vinyl made its return again, cassettes came along with it. I don't know. I guess because in the spirit of the whole tape trading thing back in the 80s, I guess they got back into it, which is cool.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't know if I would really get into buying a cassette today. Like, I mean, if you're a collector of something, sure, makes sense, but
yeah, I mean, it's aimed after us 50-year-olds with disposable income and jobs, right? Like,
true.
Who are stupid to buy them all.
Good point, Billy. Good point. But anyways, that's what I have for this week.
Wicked. Well, sorry about that, guys. I logged in, out, double. Now it's all perfect. So I'm all
okay. And great shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Came in the mail. Last week for the strike.
Okay.
Well, I'm wearing my Testament tonight because it's Testament. So,
and Jim, I can't see. Like, I can see the logo, but what's on the shirt itself?
It's World Demise. It's the.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Neat.
Yeah. Nice.
Pretty cool. It was the part of the shows that you got the tickets, and then you bought the shirt came with it.
Okay.
the hurricane in Florida, they had no power for so long to ship it out. So they reached out, which was really cool. And I was like, yeah, ship it whenever. I mean, you guys, that's least of your problems is shipping out shirts.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what I've got, just one quick news item, which kind of I picked up just before the podcast here is, for the Mayhem fans out there, sounds like Necro Butcher has said they've got like 20 songs already kind of ready to go for another album. So I guess they're doing an Australian tour, and then they're going to start going into the studio in March of 2025, and they're hoping to have an album out before the end of 25, but for sure in 26. So all the main fans out there will be flipping out. There's new material on the way.
So. And guys, what happened? Did that Mayhem tour get all canceled, or is it just the Canadian show that did?
I think it's a Canadian show.
Was it?
Canadian thing only? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear. Oh. Yeah. So what I'm spinning this week is I got a couple of things. I picked up, I've been going through this Black Dahlia murder. I'm buying all their stuff. And one here is called Abysmal. So I'm not really, I wasn't totally familiar. I mean, I knew who they were, but I bought the new album Servitude, and I mean, it's just blown me away.
Okay.
So I went back and I bought all the main albums, and then I'm starting to pick up some of these guys that don't rank as high as the other ones. But this one's actually really cool. It starts off with kind of a piano and a violin kind of on the first song, Receipt. And then it kind of bookends it at the end with That Cannot Die, Which Internally Is Dead. It's a really good album. I mean, it's probably towards the back end of their catalog on all the ratings I've seen, but I absolutely love that. Love this band and totally getting into them, which is kind of weird so late in their career, but never really gave them a chance before. So, but their new album.
A new singer on top of that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it was for the new album, and I mean, fit right in, without skipping a beat. The new album sounds so good. Mammoth's Hand, the single they have is just fantastic. Probably in my top 5 songs of 2024 so far. And the other one, I actually went to my, with the postal strike going on, although everything tends to get couriered, I went and picked up the re-release of Sodom, Tapping the Vein, which, is one of all three of us, one of our favorite bands for sure. And this is a cool release because it's got the 24 remaster on one disc. Then it's got another disc of the redo, which is really cool. So I catch myself listening to the remaster and the redo, one song after another. It's pretty neat. And then the third disc is Alive in Tokyo. And I reached out to you guys, and Billy, I know you have the whole set coming, which is what, 5 or 6?
I'd say, well, mine's the vinyl, so 3 records, which probably ties to the 3 CDs. But then with the vinyl package, there's also 2 CDs,
right?
And I think a DVD. So that's 5 or 6.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I probably now wish I would have waited, but the record store guy, he only got 1 copy in, and he kind of put it aside for me. But the Live in Tokyo's 92. It sounds pretty cool, and I know the one you're getting, Billy, will have a ton more live stuff with it, which is really, really neat. But the album art and the setup of the whole thing is, I mean, I thought of you, Ken, as soon as I'm seeing this, and it's just, it's really, really cool. The CD's really, really well done, and
I like it. Looks
so
good.
Yeah.
So, Jim, how different is the 2 versions of the record? The redo, is it drastically different?
I find it drastically different. I kind of like the remaster, so I go to the original and then the remaster, and I was doing that, and then I went to the redo. I found the redo had a lot more. The remaster sounds a lot more vivid and a lot more louder, especially the bass and a lot of the guitar, and that sounds a bit crisper, a bit cleaner. But the redo has weird levels in it. It sounds, there's some songs on it that I find the redo were really, really good. But I don't know. I like the remaster better than the redo. One Step Over the Line is my favorite track on the song, and I kind of like the redo better on that. But a lot of the real heavy thrashy, I mean, they're all thrashy heavy songs. I finally started off. It sounds a little. Some of the beginnings of the redo for me sounds a little weak. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on it. I mean, you can stream. I think you can stream both copies on
Okay, cool.
on Apple. Yeah.
Like usually the redo is just like Blind Guardian did, right? They re-recorded it and redid it, right? So it should sound, generally pretty different.
Well, I found the Blind Guardian one. I really liked it. Yeah, it really polished it up quite a bit. But I like the remaster on this better than the redo. But that's just me.
Okay.
Now I've probably listened to it about 6 times. But I'm doing track for track, so I'm listening. Got a CD changer, so I'm swapping it out, and then just listening to song by song to try to hear all the nuances and the changes. So, but
I don't really generally like redos, though. I don't know about that.
I'm kind of 50-50, I think.
Okay.
This one here, but I like the fact for $30, it's $40 online on Amazon. So in the record store, it was actually nice to support the record guy, and he only had one copy, but he didn't even know it was a remaster, like it was an older album. He was like, "Oh, is this new?" I was, "Oh, no, it's not new, but this is new versions," and it was pretty cool. He's like, "Oh man," but I definitely, I mean, the album artwork in that is pretty cool, and it's definitely worth it for the 3 discs that I got. I thought that was pretty cool. $10 a disc, why not?
Yeah,
and I'm sure Amazon, they'll probably lower the price after the initial orders go through in that. So pretty cool. But yeah, so that's what I've got this week, and cool stuff there.